we are chosen for love. Chosen for love. Now, our society likes to think love is a subjective term that means whatever any individual wants to deem it as such. Because in one sentence, I can love me some Wendy's chocolate frosty. And in the second sentence, I can tell my wife, babe, I love you. But I don't mean the same thing. I don't mean it like I mean it when I'm talking about a Wendy's Frosty. Two different types of love. One type of love only costs me $3. The other type of love will cost me my life. And a love that costs nothing is worth nothing. Let's see what Jesus says here. My command is this, chapter 15, verses 12. My command is that you would love each other. How? As I have loved you. Pause. Okay. The first one is, I'm telling you this. The second part is, my command is this. My command is this. Jesus is saying my command. Who can make commands? Jesus. Why? Why can Jesus make commands? No other prophet makes commands. No other good person makes commands. No other rabbi makes commands. But Jesus is actually making a command? That means he's God. Only God can make commands. And this is not an additional command. He's clarifying what the command always was. And you notice what he doesn't say in this passage. He doesn't say, my command is this, love your neighbor as yourself. He doesn't say that. He's upping his game. He's upping our game. He's upping this command because the summary of the law and the prophets is loving your neighbor as yourself. But the command that comes from Jesus is loving each other as Christ has loved you. It's the highest degree of sacrifice that we've ever in the Bible and in history. And then Jesus modifies it and says, greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for his friends. Don't forget, Jesus says, you did not choose me, but I chose you and appointed you so that you might go ahead and bear much fruit that will last, which means anything outside of Christ, anything that you do disconnected from the vine of Christ means nothing for eternity. But if you want to do something of significance for eternity, make sure you are abiding in that vine. But the command is to love. So what is this love? So again, there are 4 different loves in the New Testament. There are 4 different Greek terms for the word love. Love is not love, according to Jesus. Love means something here. And in C.S. Lewis's book called 4 Loves, hence 1, 2, 3, quattro, right? C.S. Lewis outlines what it means for these 4 words. Now, I want you to understand what it means, not so that you save money, but that you can understand what Jesus is saying here. Please go out and buy the book. It's called 4 Loves. The first level of love is the kind of love that we are experiencing here this morning. It's the kind of love that you can experience with animals. It's an acceptance kind of love, right? Doesn't mean you approve of everything. It's an acceptance kind of love. And so what means is if you walk into this place, it doesn't matter what you believe, who you love, or even what you think, you are accepted as an individual made in God's image, right? I can accept you without approving of the things you believe, which I don't think you're going to approve of everything I believe. It doesn't matter. I think we can still be friends. So far, so good. It's an acceptance kind of love. It's the kind of love that my dog, well, rest in peace, my former dog, Mr. Snuffy, Mr. Snuffy's kind of funny. His eyes would go in 2 different directions. Mr. Snuffy will accept and give love to anybody regardless of their moral disposition. I mean, you could be like literally Hitler, and Snuffy's like, oh, just give me some cuddles, right? Like, okay, nice mustache. But like Snuffy did not care, right? He accepted you regardless of your moral disposition. Now, the next level of love, there are some cutoff points. Does that make sense? That's not friendship. Friendship love is number 2, phileo. Phileo is a friendship love that exists based on common interests outside of oneself. So if you like coffee and I like coffee, we're both like, oh, you like coffee? Let's go get some coffee. And you're like, okay, let's avoid every single Starbucks and then, go 45 minutes out of our way so we can get a blonde, single roast, Ethiopian pour over, right? And you're like, sure, let's do it, right? So this is a love based on something outside of you. It's based on common interest. And this type of relationship is not made. It's discovered. It's discovered. And when you've discovered that type of relationship when you hear this. No way! Me too! Right? That's when you've discovered a friendship, okay? It's that me too moment, okay? Okay, eventually, you got to understand this about relationships. Time equals intimacy. Eventually, with enough time, these relationships can enter into this third level of love. It's called eros. Eros is not just romantic. It is romantic, but it's not just romantic love, right? It's an intimacy. This is the kind of love that says, let's forget about the coffee. What about us? This is where you see into each other, right? This is a face-to-face, not a side-by-side relationship. And then the fifth final stage of love is the greatest expression of love that someone can experience and give. And this is a sacrificial love. And this love says, I will love you even when you don't love me back. That is the love that Jesus is talking about. That is the love that Jesus is commanding in John 15. We don't get to choose what kind of love we express. Jesus is commanding, love one another as I have loved you. And this is how he did it. A couple questions you should ask yourself. Who is God calling you to love sacrificially? I want you to picture that person in your mind right now. Don't tell them if they're sitting next to you. You just need to think about who that is. Number 2, also identify who do you find it difficult to love like this. Now move in the direction of obedience at this point. You want to know what counts for eternal significance? Moving in the direction of obedience towards fulfilling the command of God to that person.